Good morning. My name is Shay, and I'm happy to be here serving as your worship associate this morning. On behalf of First Unitarian Church of Wilmington, I welcome you to this morning's hybrid service. Whether you were brave enough to come out in the cold and join us here, or whether you're joining us virtually. If you're new to First Unitarian, I invite you to check out our website, firstuuwilm.org, to learn more about us and to sign up for our email newsletter. If you're joining us online and you're interested in learning more about our congregation's ongoing activities, you will find a link in our chat that leads you to a brief form enabling you to sign up for our e-newsletter. Joining us this morning is guest minister Reverend Paula Maiorano, retired UU minister and beloved First U member. First Unitarian Church is a welcoming congregation. We affirm the worth and dignity of all, no matter your racial or ethnic identity, no matter your pronouns or gender expression, sexual orientation, family structure, income, immigration status, language, size, or abilities, and you are welcome here. We hope you will join us in Fellowship Hall after the service for coffee and lively conversation. And now let us prepare our hearts and minds for worship.
Good morning. I'm Kathy Harris. I'm the music director here at First Unitarian Church. I just want to say a few words about our prelude music today. This piece, as you will see, is called the Brooklyn Bridge Grand March. It was written by a composer named Edward Mack. He was a German composer who immigrated here as a young boy, and he became well known for writing marches, which was a big thing to write in the 19th century. It's a very popular music form. So this piece was written to commemorate the opening of the Brooklyn Bridge. It was published the year the bridge was finished, which was 1883. And I think you'll hear some of the drama of the building of the bridge that Reverend Paula is going to talk about with us today, and also some very lyrical moments that reflect the beauty of the suspension bridge and the wires. So I hope you enjoy it. We'll have a little slideshow for you as well while we do the music. So.
Good morning. This is a better turnout than I was expecting. Terrific. Opening words, or rather call to worship this morning. The words are adapted from UU Minister Greta W. Crosby. When you look out and at the snow-covered trees and the blanket of white on the grass, when we look at anything at all, we are the universe looking at its handiwork. You have perhaps seen the pattern of cross and yarn called the Eye of God, made in our Southwest in homage to the sun. We too, all of us together, all the eyes of all the creatures are the eye of God. That's why we need each other. Our many ways of seeing, we need them. So together we may rejoice and see clearly and find the many keys to abundant life.
If you have a chalice at home, I invite you to join us in lighting it now. As Reverend Paula lights our chalice, I give you these words from Margot Reinhardt. May this chalice bring us to the precipice of truth, where nothing can be hidden from the flame. And may we find the reckoning place where our souls burst open and into the liberating light. And now please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing hymn number 1000, Morning Has Come. And please remain standing after the hymn for our unison affirmation. And now please join me in affirming our mission. First Unitarian Church of Wilmington is a beloved community that nourishes minds and spirits, fights injustice, and transforms the world through loving action.
The medieval mystic Hildegard of Bingen wrote that we cannot live in a world that is not your own, in a world that is interpreted by others. Part of the terror is to take back our own listening, to use our own voice, to see our own light. Let us take a moment to breathe in and out on these words. I'm combining the quiet time with this meditation. May you always listen with your own listening. May you always speak with your own voice. May you always see your own light. Blessed be. Not only do we shine many lights, not only do we speak in many voices, but we all have many different happenings in our life. Some are joyful and some full of sorrow. Let's begin with the remembrance of something that we want to recognize in our sorrow. Let's listen for one another so we don't all speak at once. I'll begin. I'm still feeling sad for my brother-in-law who lost his wife on January 6th. Sad loss on New Year's Eve, 42-year-old son.
Her cousin David Max died.
Your cousin David?
David Max.
David Max. So hopefully we've also had joys amidst us. If you wish to share a joy or something that gives you joy, please do so now. Beautiful snow.
The First Unitarian EDR team feeding the hungry yesterday.
The Emmanuel Dining Room feeding the hungry, our team. David surviving brain surgery. May those sorrows and joys that we have lifted up, as well as the ones quietly held in our heart, be sources of reflection. May comfort occur, and may joys continue. Amen.
Many different walks of faith.
The Reverend E. Forrester Church served for many years as the lead minister of All Souls Church in New York City. This reading is from the Cathedral of the World, a chapter he wrote for A Chosen Faith, the book he co-authored with former UUA president and historian, the Reverend John Behrens, now retired. Imagine awakening one morning from a deep and dreamless sleep to find yourself in the nave of a vast cathedral, like a child newborn, untutored save to moisture, nurture, rhythm, and the profound comforts at the heart of darkness. You open your eyes upon a world unseen, indeed unimaginable before. It is a world of light and dancing shadow, stone and glass, life and death. The second birth, at once miraculous and natural, is in some ways not unlike the first. A new awakening, it consecrates your life with sacraments of pain you do not understand, promised joy you will never fully call your own. Such awakenings may happen only once in a lifetime, or many times. But when they do, what you took for granted before is presented as a gift, difficult, yet precious and good. Not that you know what to do with your gift, or even what it really means, only how much it matters. Awakening to the call stirring deep within you, the call of life itself, the call of God, you begin your pilgrimage.
Early this past December, I picked up a book of historical fiction about the building of the Brooklyn Bridge. I found its history exciting. Indeed, it captured my imagination. Somehow, until then, I missed that this was the subject of Ken Burns' first PBS documentary, still available on Passport, if you haven't seen it, and David McCullough's second book, The Great Bridge, available from the public library. The designer and early chief engineer of the bridge, John Roebling, was a German immigrant trained in Europe before his arrival in the U.S. Considered the best bridge engineer of suspension bridges of his time, Roebling was a philosopher as well as an engineer and inventor. He was also a follower of Hegel, who taught that thought is not philosophical if it is not also religious. Both, Hegel taught, are concerned with the inherent unity of all things. McCullough wrote of Roebling's approach to the bridge. The way he had designed it, the enormous structure, was to be a grand harmony of opposite forces. The steel of the cables in tension, the granite of the towers in compression. He considered mathematics a spiritual, now this is Roebling, a spiritual perception as well as the highest science. And since all engineering questions, thought he, were governed by simple mathematical considerations, the suspension bridge was a spiritual ideal or conception. If you look at this slide of the Brooklyn Bridge, You will notice John Roebling's design was inspired by the grand cathedrals of Europe and his interest in Gothic architecture. Over objections, it featured stone, intricate patterns, ornamentation, and the pointed arches, I love them, to exude a sense of grandeur and majesty. The sheer scale and beauty of the Brooklyn Bridge can inspire feelings of awe and transcendence in those who encounter it. It was the similarity of the arches of the Brooklyn Bridge to those of ancient cathedral windows that inspired Jan's reading this morning. Forrester Church further wrote, "Look about you. Contemplate the mystery and contemplate with awe." The cathedral is as ancient as humankind, although it might have started with a stone on a fire. John Roebling had a lifelong quest for the betterment of humankind. His engineering skills gave him a way to proceed. Certainly a bridge connecting the workers in Brooklyn to their jobs in Manhattan was an improvement over the time-consuming ferry, which didn't operate when the river was frozen, as it was on days like today, and sometimes remained frozen for days. Because I also believe in the unity of all things. We can take the slide down now. I see personal growth and societal improvement as a part of the same fabric of progress. One can bring the other. Both are important in designing a plan to achieve one's vision. As Unitarian Universalists, whether we're working towards our own individual future, societies, or both, as well as our plan or design to reach it, we must build on the values we hold dear. Consider, Roebling's career was fulfilled by the contributions he made to human betterment. He invented wire rope using iron to replace hemp, thereby allowing the building of suspension bridges, even the other kinds of bridges, like for canals that had hemp, used to wear out and they would have collapses. Then the breakthrough substitution of steel wire instead of iron wire for the Brooklyn Bridge. His bridges were stable when many other bridges were collapsing, building confidence as well as bridges in connections between human communities, such as at the time, more rural Brooklyn with more urban Manhattan. The design and building of the Brooklyn Bridge offers many ideas and clues on how to build a bridge to our own future and society's future, not the least of which is to plan for ongoing maintenance once the vision has been achieved. A vision is paramount. To begin, one needs the vision to be clear to bridge the gap between where we are and where we want to be, and includes an assessment of our abilities to achieve it and the determination to pursue it. Now, I followed a vision when I went for seminary, and thank goodness I didn't try to go for building bridges, because I'm a terrible mathematician. A vision is sometimes described as envisioning your dreams. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we just celebrated, is famously known for his "I Have a Dream" speech. With it, he painted a word picture for his listeners so that we could see and share his vision. His dream included an America where the children of former slaves and the children of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of family, where even the most oppressive state will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice, and that his children will someday be judged by their character instead of the color of their skins. And Dr. King knew his dream would create resistance. Changes in an established system, such as racial oppression, create an imbalance only resolved by a completed change to a new system or a return to the old. When changing a system, one needs to prepare for such resistance until the change becomes established as the new system. Otherwise, unmet resistance will sabotage the change. Fortunately, many still share Dr. King's dream, a dream both societal and personal, and are continuing to fight against the return to the previous systemic oppression. For some of us, such dreams brought us to this church where we can pursue them in community while becoming or being fully ourselves. I've learned from my own criminal justice reform work of many years, that sometimes the dream may be seriously delayed. It takes personal determination to persist in our own lives and generational persistence in society. The all-pro football player Emmitt Smith said that for him, winning isn't something that happens suddenly on the field when the whistle blows and the crowds roar. Winning is something that builds physically and mentally every day that you train and every night that you dream. If societal, it's important that if the builder or reformer falters, others are available to carry the dream on. For example, I'm no longer in the trenches of criminal justice reform, but many others fortunately are. The Brooklyn Bridge designer and initial chief engineer, John Roebling, due to complications of an accident while surveying the bridge's site, died of those complications. His son, Washington Roebling, who was the project engineer, became chief engineer. Wash, as he was called, served as a colonel of the Union Army during the Civil War, building bridges and other structures, and if I remember, surveying Confederate bridges for the demolitions people. Although the Brooklyn Bridge work continued, the senior Roebling's death caused delays, as did other matters, some financial and political. It was anticipated that the bridge would take 5 years, only 5 years, to build. It took 14. Begun in 1869 and completed in 1883, when the march was written. The worst cause of delay was related to the caissons used in the underwater construction. These caissons, now I just want to say to all the engineers in this room that this took me a really long time to figure out. I had to keep going back and studying it and rereading it, but I think I really have it, and if I didn't, forgive me. These caissons were large, watertight chambers, open at the bottom from which the water is kept out by air pressure. I still can't fathom that. And in which construction work may be carried out underwater. Working in the caissons was dangerous, and many workers suffered from the unexplained caisson disease, now known as decompression sickness, or colloquially, the bends. This disease caused many illnesses and at least 20 fatalities among the workers. Unfortunately, it was a disease that confined Washington Roebling to his room at home, from which window he could observe the construction. During the subsequent years of building, Wash relayed all his instructions and whatever new plans he drew to his wife, Emily, who then worked with the other engineers to implement her husband's instructions. After her reports at the end of the day, Wash put together his instructions for the day following. Wash and Emily lived and worked together like this for years. Growing in knowledge, Emily was eventually considered a self-taught engineer. All of this suggests that visions often depend on collaboration with trusted others for best results. I believe collaboration, such as Wash and Emily's, has never been as important as today for the success of our dreams. Not to mention the collaboration of all the engineers that worked on the bridge. There were many. And the workers. The speed and technology of communication has created an incredibly shrinking world. And we need one another to figure out how to live in it. Sometimes the design or plan for a vision must be revised. It was intended that the foundation caissons of the Brooklyn Bridge be filled with concrete when they hit bedrock. The Brooklyn side foundation was built on bedrock. Unfortunately, at the Manhattan site, bedrock was too deep and dangerous to pursue. At this point, Washington Roebling made the riskiest decision of his life. By taking soil samples, he discovered that the soil hadn't shifted in millions of years. He decided that it was stable enough to hold the bridge, which now has one side on bedrock and the other side on sand. If we wish to reach our goals, we cannot be afraid of taking a risk. The old adage, victory belongs to the courageous, stands true today. Pursuing a vision is very challenging work. There are times when even the direction of our implementation must detour. Early on, Emily Roebling had been engaged in the local movement for women's suffrage and for women's rights, which she hoped to pursue full-time when her son was grown. They only had one child. Instead, she spent her time with the engineers, foremen, and others engaged in the work of the bridge, as well as in meetings with politicians and financiers critical to the bridge's outcome. And there was a lot of political intrigue, a lot of really, I don't know what to call the word, really lousy competition. And so As a consequence, her life was building, not working for, or so she thought, women's rights and suffrage. A dream deferred, do you think? No. When the bridge was, it was deferred, but it wasn't canceled. When the bridge was finally completed, Emily Roebling went to law school and assisted the women's movement as a lawyer. It's my thought that the work she did for the bridge gave rise to a fully liberated woman. Emily Ware Roebling modeled that women could work in a field which traditionally belonged to men, only men. On Thursday, 24 May 1883, the bridge opened amidst spectacular fanfare, including an amazing parade and voluminous fireworks. Among the civic leaders were the President, Chester A. Arthur, New York Governor Grover Cleveland, and because the opening took place before Brooklyn and Manhattan were both consolidated into New York City, the mayors of both Brooklyn and Manhattan were present. Washington Roebling was still confined to rest, but Emily went over the bridge in a carriage carrying a rooster to symbolize victory. A plaque on the bridge honors all three Roeblings by name: John, Washington, and Emily Warren Roebling. When your vision is achieved or you succeeded in an important milestone on your way to the dream, celebrate with joy. Celebrate with joy and symbols and remembrances. The Brooklyn Bridge, the longest suspension bridge in the world for 20 years after it was built, became a cultural phenomenon, inspiring inspiring music, songs, films, and visitors. The Brooklyn Bridge is even today an essential landmark and monument, not only of New York City, but of the U.S. Its outstanding architectural engineering accomplished, still revered as iconic U.S. across the world. For this reason, it is used by many protesters. The most recent this last October in the pro-Palestine protest rally. And last year on the January 22nd, like day after tomorrow and this year, it was the Women's March over the bridge for gender rights, which are being taken away, to protest the overturn of Roe versus Wade on what would have been its 50th anniversary. Today, there are automobiles crossing the bridge where once horse-drawn carriages and trains crossed. Later, trolleys were added, then removed. Change happens. We know this, right? Plans need inherent flexibility. Currently, we live amidst great challenges in our future. With the increasing impact of artificial intelligence on our technology and lives, and with the rise of worldwide authoritarianism, and I think I said our climate, right? The challenges seem overwhelming, yet we just can't give up in desperation thinking it's inevitable. Meeting these challenges is urgent. When planning for yourself or society, it's important to continually learn how to understand and function in the current world with compassionate humanity and to believe, really believe, we can carve a sustainable humanity in a world we do not yet know. Our plans for ourselves, our families, our careers, and for society must create continuously and adapt continuously as change occurs. Our lives and the life of our planet depend on this. There are many, a few here in this congregation, who have walked across the Brooklyn Bridge. John Roebling said he designed the pedestrian walkway for the human spirit. I believe this was very wise, and that no matter how practical our design for our own future, it must include our human spirit in everything we dream and we do. Begin with a vision dream, that was a slash, followed by a plan or design both rooted in values, your values, I'll do mine, they are similar or the same, and capabilities. Persist in the face of adversity, delays, and resistance. Collaborate, revise plans as needed, and accept necessary detours on the way. Celebrate success. From the vision to the celebration, include the human spirit, yours, mine, and humanity's. Amen. Blessed be. Shalom. Shalom. Namaste. May the divine in me bow to the divine in you and in our world. Amen.
Reverend Paula has just told us about a man who dreamed big and saw his dream come true in a very big way. Many, or perhaps most of us here, have had the opportunity to see the stately Brooklyn Bridge at one time or another. But evidence of dedication to one's dreams is literally everywhere. I invite everyone to take just a moment to look around you at the sanctuary, at the design, the organ and piano, the artwork, the signs, the furniture, the window blinds, at everything. All of it is the result of over 150 years of the dreams and visions of so many members who did and are still doing so much to see them come to fruition. First U is not, and hopefully never will be, done dreaming, but we need to count on the support of members not only to fulfill new dreams, but also for the not quite as inspirational but equally important task of paying our operating costs. The heating bill and other building costs, the snow removal, the salaries for our wonderful staff, all are as dependent on our members for funding as the big ticket dreams are. Every contribution of time or of money matters every day. As the choir sings the offertory music, the 4 ways to give to First U will be visible on the screen. You may also leave a donation of cash or check in the white offering basket at the back of the room. Your generous donations are received with gratitude. Please join me now in dedicating our offering to the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action. We dedicate our lives and these our offerings.
They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, they call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design.
All
If you have a chalice at home, I invite you to extinguish it now. If here you have found freedom, take it with you into the world. If you have found comfort, go and share it with others. If you have dreamed dreams, help one another that they may come true. If you have known love, give some back to a bruised and hurting world. Go in peace.
Before we close, I just want to say thank you to the brilliant music that we had here this morning, and I'm going to clap again. And to Jan, who, without consulting, picked up on exactly what wove in with today's theme. Good job, thank you. And for all of you braving the cold, I think it was 29 degrees when I came in. And before you leave, I do have to remind you, if you don't know, that Mary Weiss has COVID. And so the anti-Semitic workshop is postponed. It's not going to happen today. And for the rest of the week's activities, the First U is now publishing a little flyer that you can pick up when you enter the building, stick it on your refrigerator, and refer to it so you can not do what sometimes I do, which is say, oh, I wished I'd remembered that. You know. So as we leave here to enter the rest of our lives, may you go with a sense of the importance of dreams, creating a vision, whether it be building a bridge or eating a vegan menu in January. You will find ways to participate, and may you participate with all your heart and all your values and with your human spirit. Go in peace. After you sing closing hymn number 143.
Praise
Thank